start, but I have to start the workshop. So, but I'm certainly talk to you after. I'll talk to you after. My name's Jerry.
You have a room in tomorrow that you have to structure. There's so much money.
No, that's, I don't want to do your cap.
We have to.
I don't want to do but then you can make money. Did you read it? We're going to talk to Gail that night. Right, and then you can move the money because you don't want to have it. We're going to organize the workshop, and after that, there will be a printout that will be available from Gail where you can see what the final number is. So if you're going to vote no for something that's absurd, then I'll just do that. Yeah. Yeah, how's the turn it over once you do tonight, a couple days? So you're not feeling, how about you're not feeling good, so how about you go with zero? No, 2% from the last. Get out this year, or recorded this year? We can't.
Well, no, we didn't have anything out that was there last year.
But
Well, you're right, but that's
there's
got
some that's
offset by
lower than 2%.
turned up, but it was like part of that.
Alright, I'm gonna, so what they said. Hey, I'm gonna call this workshop special meeting to order at 7:34 p.m. We already did the Pledge of Allegiance, so we will move on past that. Attendance, appointment of alternates. You're all here, so Paulette, thank you for being here, and obviously we listened to your opinion, but tonight, no vote. All right, approval of agenda. We're good for now, right, Peg? We don't have anything right now. Public participation, absolutely. If somebody would like to say something before we get going on in the workshop again, even though we had the public hearing, you're more than welcome if somebody just walked in. Okay. All right, new business. On to discussion and action of the 2017-2018 budget. I think we heard a lot tonight, and I just spent a wonderful time talking to one of the gentlemen. And it's hard because there's not a lot of money. The state has cut a ton of our revenue, so we're starting backwards instead of forwards. Each end, the town end and the Board of Ed end, did a tremendous job at presenting budgets that they felt were fair, but it was a very large increase. Can you remind me where we started when you combined both budgets? Anybody remember off the top of their head? 7%? Something like that, which would have been huge. You guys have worked very hard to get it to a palatable number that we thought everybody could live with. Percentages can be very, as Mr. Lest said, you've got to look at the number that you're giving the percentage to. Understandably, the Board of Ed gets a very large, even when it's 1.55, when you're working on a multi-million dollar, that's a very large percentage. And in talking to the gentleman who spoke tonight, I did ask him, I said, you're frustrated and you want all of this money to stay, but you want me to cut a lot more. That's kind of hard to do. So tonight we're here to hopefully get to a number that will pass. And the answer of reverting to 2% is not always the right answer. I know everybody, as Marie just brought up tonight, everybody thinks that's the quick and the easy, but you can't maintain at that. We'll do the best we can tonight, and then it's in the voters' hands. So what I'm going to do is kind of I'll start to my left to go from there, because I know Kathy doesn't like me to go to my right. So I'll start to my left and see if anybody has given any thought to what they feel we need to go and where we need to go and what we need to do. So you're on the hot seat.
I gave everybody a copy over the last week. Looked at the budget several times, and I gave you all a copy that's a proposed 1.95% increase to bring to referendum next time. there's cuts to almost every department within the town. Some are large, some are small. When I look at my number, I cut from the town side, I cut $63,812. And from the Board of Education side, there's a $120,000 decrease in the Board of Education to make this come to 1.95. Unfortunately, that's what we have to do to get it to around a number that the people in this town will vote for to pass. I looked at what was presented to the first selectman in the big binder we got here, and I looked at things that look like duplicates. I have some questions that would hopefully, maybe it's a duplicate, maybe it's not, that would be able to restore some money, and that money would be restored to the Board of Ed if there's a cut that can be made somewhere else. I guess if I'll start, I just go down through what I proposed. We can talk about it, discuss it. But I feel it's a reasonable budget. The Board of Ed came originally with over $1 million increase in funding they asked for. I'm still going to give them, with my budget that I proposed here tonight, I'm still giving them $222,000. I know that'll be said it's not a lot of money. But when you look at other towns around us that are actually decreasing their Board of Ed budget, I still think we're giving them an increase, and it's what we have to do to make our budget work with the lack of funds we have. Keeping all this in mind, we also have to realize that, it was mentioned tonight, that we are pulling $475,000 out of our contingency fund to make this budget work, which probably we will not be able to do next year. So it's something we also need to keep in mind. Once this cycle ends, going forward, what are we going to do for next year? So with that, I will start with what I propose, and we can vote them up, we can vote them down, but it's what I feel can work and make a budget that would be palatable to the citizens of this town. And I think it's, hopefully I don't like to cut anything, because I think that, like I said, was said earlier, that the departments in our town came with reasonable budgets, but unfortunately, in the situation of the state, and it's getting passed down to us, we have to do something to make it work. So with that, I'll start, and I'll just go down through each one. We'll start with the selectmen.
Before we go into the details, can we get at people's general idea of where they want to go? Or
Sure.
do you want to go into all of it?
No, we can come back to, how about we get everybody's general ideas, if you're comfortable with that, and then we'll come back to Bill to start with any numbers, and then move around the table again. So go ahead,
Sorry to
Cindy.
interrupt you, but I
No,
just before we get, I'm like totally the opposite way. I think like I said before, I don't think we have to, I think we have to propose a budget that will make sense for the town and will be what the town needs to run and needs to work. And the way that the charter is written is, if the budget doesn't pass 3 times, we have to revert to 2%. I particularly don't think that we should swallow that pill unless we absolutely have to.
Jim?
And then
Oops, sorry, you stopped, go.
No, I would even go as far as to put the $100,000 back into the Board of Ed budget.
Jim?
For once, I'm kind of at a loss for words. I know. But we don't have the money. I don't think there's anything in this budget that I don't care about, that I'm not concerned about. I'm concerned about staff, I'm concerned about supplies, I'm concerned about our technology, I'm concerned about the kids. But we don't have the money. We've increased things. When people say we've cut like Board of Ed, and we've actually increased. And I look at cold hard numbers of cash, not percents, because percents are used to skew things. Cold hard cash, the Board of Ed has the largest increase in the town for a department, which it should. I don't know, yeah, by itself, yeah.
It's like 65.
It's there. And then what are our most vulnerable residents, businesses going to do when we raise taxes? We talk about kids, we got parents working 2 jobs, and if you raise taxes, that means instead of sending Johnny to camp, I'm gonna pay my money to the government. That's what that means. Not everybody has big money. Town's medium income, somebody mentioned $70,000 recently. According to the town statistics we were given at the beginning, it's $33,000. So if each parent's working and they're making the medium income, between them, they're making $66,000, and the state and the federal government are not offering them any more help. It's gonna go less and less help for them. So, I guess I wasn't at a loss for words, but the budget that was voted down, I wasn't happy because I don't want to increase taxes, but I thought it was functional. Now we have to sit and discuss, to make it happen, what we're gonna cut. There's things that you don't want to cut, but if you don't have the money, that's it.
We only have a limited amount of money, period. That's what it comes down to. We have to make tough decisions. Everybody has their hand out. Nobody wants any cuts for any particular reason because it affects their interests. Well, sorry. State's $5 billion in the hole for the next 2 years. Funding keeps getting cut. We only grew 0.72% the grand list from last year to this year. We just don't have the money. Despite everybody's items that they want this, they want that, they haven't figured out how to pay for it. So I'm in agreement that things need to be cut, but I'm on the more conservative side saying we need to cut drastically. We need to restructure our spending, how we spend, where we spend, what we spend, the number of items we have. We just can't support it. So I'm of the advocacy we should take substantial cuts across the board because what we're doing is kicking the can down the road one more year. That's it.
All set? Paula?
We're back to 2% again, and it doesn't work. It hasn't worked, and it won't work anymore. We need a realistic budget that everybody in the town could live with and still get things done, and we're not getting anything done at 2%. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, saved you for last.
I was going to say this before, I've said this before and I say it again. I would love to see when people turn around and say, gimme, gimme, gimme. They have their ideas, they have their heart, that's fine. Where do we get it from? We come to these meetings every month. We have workshops. Where are you? Guy sat here fighting tooth and nail over Board of Ed things. What are you doing? Come and see what we're doing. It's a lot of fun. It's wonderful to stay up half the night and worry that you're taking tease things from these kids, books from them. Oh, we look like a pretty bad family. I have every bit of respect for every member on this board sticking it out for free because our municipality workers would stick it out for free. And I mean, somebody told me, take it from the library. We wiped it out. Take it from the youth center. We wiped it out. They said senior center next. No, that sent chills down my spine. Then they said start on Park Hill. Whoa, thank God it's nothing to do with me. I don't like having put all that money taking it from our savings account, as I call it. That turned me upside down. And yet we're saying more money? Well, you know, something called and I'm game. Give us the ideas. Whoopee! I told you, somebody gave me 3, and I'd already done 2. The only thing I can think of, I'd hate to touch that senior center. And the one thing that we heard the last time, 9 people stood up and said, try the pays for the officers. It's contractual. We're not even allowed into a union meeting. We have to sit there and wait to see what our selectman has chosen to do. And whether you like it or not, you're stuck. You voted that in. You got it. I would take, and people would not like this, I would get thrown out of office for this, but too many years on this board, and I would probably, instead of taking, we took only $100,000 from the Board of Ed, I'd be very tempted to take 4. I think if I have to manage in the business world, and I can't turn to anybody for help, then you make it with the budget we had to set up. We don't like it, figure out another way to do it. You're intelligent people, you're in your offices, you've got degrees, figure it out. I would love to have something put in my box to say, gee, this is an idea, Mrs. Pippin. We'd love to see you do it. And damn it all, I'll implement if I can. Thank you.
Can I add on to that?
Okay.
I agree with Kathy.
You do?
Yes,
Okay.
except for the senior center, but that's a different issue we have. There's just no money, but in a business, you're gonna have to make cuts. If you wanna stay alive, if you wanna be financially stable, things have to happen. Whether or not it's good or bad, unfortunately, you have to be fiscally responsible. And I don't want East Windsor going the way of Hartford. Or making huge cuts, have to renegotiate this, renegotiate that, and possibly end up in bankruptcy at some point down the road. So we either get our house in order through a bunch of ideas, have been presented a bunch of times, and told, you can't do that. You're hurting this group, you're hurting that group. It hurts everybody. Too bad. Folks have to make tough choices. What do you want? There have been nights we sat in here, there's nobody that showed up other than 3 selectmen, Marie, Bill, and a few others. Sarah, I've seen a couple of times, but I haven't seen a lot of participation. I've asked for ideas, but I haven't heard anything. Other than don't raise taxes. The voters have made that very clear in the last 2 referendums. Done.
We were done last time.
Sorry.
Just saying. All right. Point made too, that we have over 11,000 citizens in this town, and only about between 700, 800, I forget the exact number, voted. It's
10%.
hard to really
There's 7,300 registered voters plus.
register voters, yeah. Well, there's still 11,000, some are not registered unfortunately too, so add that into the mix. You don't get a good picture with so little participation either, so. All right, you're back up. But before you do, which one did you get?
This is.
Okay, that's yours with the dark, and this is the one from Gail. Okay.
Bill, before you get started, I'd like to make a motion. I make a motion under line 9015 to remove collections, $695,000.
Okay, first go in your, which category? Are you under 4, 1, what?
It's collections. Garbage.
No, you-
They had it up.
All right, make your motion and get it seconded so we can discuss.
Make a motion under category 910500 sanitation. We remove the collection line of, well, what was up in the time, $695,510. What I have from the budget.
Second.
And any discussion?
1/12 of our budget.
Okay, so I'm going to discuss that. For many years, I discussed trash. You can ask Lynn. It was always my discussion. I said it's such a big chunk of the budget, so many towns outsource and then bill just for the trash, Couple things. It's the 2 components together, collection and disposal, that go together. So it is almost actually $1 million. And if that's something that everybody wants to look at and to discuss at a time, we can do that. Right now, we're in a, how many year contract?
We're, what's it, 17, I think we go to 19.
2000, because I remember we signed a 3-year
Something like
contract last year, so,
2019. Just if I could say something, if you're
It's
gonna
your
remove
department, yes.
collection, you might as well remove disposal.
well, that's what I told them,
Who's
it's
gonna
all
pick
in
it up?
one. Exactly. I told them it's all one.
What's the penalty to cancel the contract?
Again, I'll ask you, if you get rid of disposal, if collection, who's gonna,
I
how are you
think-
gonna get it to disposal?
Right. I think they understand that it's all one, that it wouldn't be just that clump. But it's not something, if that's something that you guys were to look at, and like you were discussing, we have to reorganize, we have to figure out things. That's not something that you can, I shouldn't say it's not something you can do, because you could do it, but it would not be wise, in my opinion. That's something that you would, as we discussed in July, having our meeting where we sit down and we task the selectmen of figuring out how to make a better well-streamlined government. That's something they would have to investigate, the penalty of breaking a contract, other ways to have trash picked up, how to get the billing of that trash, and getting the citizens
We've
and the
been at this
taxpayers
since
notified.
February. Let's figure
I
something out.
understand, I understand. I'm just telling you the ramifications of
I
it.
understand, we've had that discussion before,
Mhm.
but it's 1/12 of your budget.
It is, but, so you want to cut it and not have it next year, and what are you going to do with that trash that's sitting in people's yards? I'm just being like devil's advocate.
Do like other towns have, the person's paid for their pickup.
Right, exactly, which is feasible, well, not feasible, but it is an idea, but it's not something that you can do overnight. It's
And,
something you plan, it's something you,
I bet you the garbage company could.
and
I
it's
bet
also,
you they could give you a price tag tomorrow morning.
and it's also collectively,
go ahead, Lenny, you can speak, and, oh, sorry. Lenny,
collectively, it would be more expensive for the individuals to contract to have that picked up than what they charge the town. So it would be more expensive for the taxpayer to do that.
Not all taxpayers
Depends.
get garbage pickup.
Yeah.
Pasco Commons taxpayers, which is a mix of business and residents, pay for their own pickup. All your businesses and apartment complexes in town
Right.
pay for their own pickup.
Correct.
And the condos.
That's why a lot of towns do it.
No, condos get their pickup. A lot of the condos get pickup from the town. But apartments don't, businesses don't. Pasco Commons, I know for a fact, doesn't. And they're a mix of business and
Right, but
residents.
for the individual person, it's gonna cost, it's cheaper to have the town.
For
Depends on
them,
the
But they said
absolutely.
if, to go, yeah.
Some people have
each
voted the
person.
budget down, they want to pay for so much, choose.
Go ahead, this is
So-
Lenny's department, and this is a workshop, so
So-
Lenny is allowed to speak. Just explaining, so
Trust
people
me.
don't get mad if I don't.
I'm not necessarily condoning that we make my job a lot easier if we didn't do it, but that's beside the point. You can't just do that 2 months before I mean, you can't tell people, okay, starting July 1st, we're not gonna pick up your trash. You can't. That's something that if it's really something that the town wants to look into, it needs to be investigated, there needs to be things going out there. We get phone calls every day because we don't have a transfer station, we don't have a landfill, we don't have bulky pickup. I mean, you gotta make a call, you gotta pay $50. We have the bulky drop-off twice a year, they pick up, I mean, and I get it. People don't wanna pay the taxes, but they want all these services. I get it, and you know what? The little bit that they're gonna save in their taxes, they're gonna pay more when they end up paying the individual trash hauler, I'm guessing, unless someone comes in and, just makes a deal with the whole town.
But it separates it out of their taxes.
Trash companies are pretty territorial, if that's the word I want to use. But, whatever you mean.
That's a good word.
So,
We don't own the bins, the town, they own the bins.
Yep.
So now people have to buy containers.
Again,
I mean,
it's a service.
and I agree, I mean, if that, I'm not saying we shouldn't necessarily get rid of trash, I don't know what the answer is, all I'm saying is,
It's not
God,
overnight.
please don't do it for July 1st this year,
Right.
because you'd probably be looking for a new public works department.
Selectman Pippin?
You know, one comment on that, collection, we did separate out, I would not get rid of disposal, because Lenny's budget is gonna go way up on disposal when he's around every day, picking up the trash all over town, that we know we're gonna find. And, I won't be surprised if it won't be dumped right here on the lawn, every night, right here in town hall. And people would be up in arms tremendously. And it is a contracted service, and we'll have to talk to attorneys and see what it would cost to break it. I don't think it could be done in such a short period of time.
We have that discussion every year. Nobody's moved their butts to start looking at what the cost reduction is for what services we want. You already said that 2% is not enough, Dick.
Steve,
So you got to get it down.
which pocket do you want to take it out?
I want to take it
Okay,
out
we're
of
not going
everybody's
back,
pocket
we're not
now.
going back and forth, we're
I was
just
gonna say,
doing
we have a
information right
motion.
now,
So-
Lenny.
you know, when Dick says, you know, picking it up on the side of the road, it's, I mean, we have, in the past couple of years, this year in particular, we've started with recycling programs for electronic waste, for TVs. We even collect mattresses now. I mean, we used to pick up a ton of mattresses on East Road, all over town. The people can now bring them to
Yep.
our facility. We have a container, so people use those things, and we're not picking that up on the side of the road now. I don't wanna start picking up trash on July 1st on the side of the road. But I get it, I do get it.
No, I know, and I agree wholeheartedly with you,
Yeah.
it's not an overnight boom, and it takes way too much legwork, and should be done in our proposal to the selectmen for streamlining their government in July. My opinion. Anybody else?
I'm totally against it. I think what's happening now is being picked up, it's being disposed of. It will cost each taxpayer a lot more money if it has to come out of their budget than come out of their taxes.
Any other discussion? Are we good? All right, so all those in favor of Steve's proposal or motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
3 opposed, 2 yes, motion fails.
Before you get, I'd like to make a motion to take the 475,000, sorry, but these are things I'd like to see. The 475,000 that we took out of, thank you, old age is setting in. Fund balance, thank
Not
you.
contingency, I was just.
Thank you, I'd like to put that back and remove it from this budget.
Second.
Oh, sorry. Did that come out? Was that my outside voice?
Did you do that all?
Did I do that? All right, and any discussion?
Yeah, I feel that we shouldn't be touching that money. The voters have stated that they don't want things, you know, we had that in the budget to make things functional, and now that we're not gonna be functional, because I don't see an end run that is functional if we're under 2%, I can't condone putting, in my mind, that 475,000 of taxpayers' money in there. I just can't. We shouldn't be doing it. It's a robbing Peter paying Paul deal. So I'd like to see it get back out of there.
We'll look at that after we're done.
Well, I think any discussion we have is tainted by the fact that it's sitting there and it's not something that I feel we should be doing. If we're gonna cut things, then we shouldn't be taking it from here to make the cut here less, people should know what the cut feels like. And if that 475, that's almost $500,000, they're not getting it. We had it in the budget for the last 2 times to make it functional, to make the whole thing work, so we could get everybody pretty much what they needed.
Yeah, what's the total of the fund balance right now? You don't have it?
No.
Wasn't it 17.5%?
No. What, you mean after we took out the
After we take it out.
475? Yeah. Okay, so our fund balance is over 20%, which, believe it or not, is hurting us because we've, for the years before, these last 8, 10 years or whatever, where we were actively creating this fund balance so that we could get better bonds, so that we could get better ratings and we could get more stuff, was good. But now that we've done that, we're reaching our peak. We shouldn't have over 17%. We're over 20%. We need to give back to the taxpayer. They have given that money to work the town, but it is now hurting us. Now we are not getting things like the Board of Ed. It actually hurts because when they go out for grants and they go out things like that, they look and they go, oh no, they got all that money in there. They don't need these grants. So it's time to give that back because it's hurting us over 17%. We've already rolled some into new, Bob, how much did we take out for capital this year?
Oh, yeah, well, but that's.
$500,000.
$500,000, right?
And that's good, because
Right.
by taking.
No, but I'm just saying that how we depleted, I just needed the number, it was 500,000,
It would be
right?
best to deplete it
So,
again that way.
Yeah,
because
so
you're creating
it's
a
time to
budget
give it back.
deficit.
So what do you do next year then?
Yeah,
You slowly, we've been doing it for the last 4 years.
What do you do next year when we're at 17.5% next year and there's no fund balance to give back to the taxpayers?
Speaker?
We have a whole year to work on that. We need
Yeah,
positive-
that's what we do. We keep kicking the can down the road.
It's what we've done for 20 years, kick the can down the road.
Maybe it's time to stop doing that, considering the way the economy the state is in. the way our economic growth is going here in this town, we need to make some hard choices, not kick the can down another year.
And I'm not saying we can't look at taking something from there, but having that 475 sitting there is like having the 2% sitting at the end of the charter thing. I think we need to talk real numbers and then we can maybe rate something. But right now, to me, that number, it feels like the 2% at the end of this thing here. It's a number that we shouldn't have in there till we figure out everything else.
I think we need to know what the fund balance actually is, the actual number, before we make this any kind
Well,
of
we
vote
knew
on
that,
it.
we haven't touched it since we did it last time, and we haven't touched it since last time, so what was it last time? 21, yeah, it was like,
What comes in this
Yep.
year and.
so it was like, what, 20, it was between 21 and 22, it was up there.
But even you would agree, Geraldine, that the 475 there is a larger number than we've ever done in the past.
Yeah, we did 275 last year.
Right. And the year before that, we did less than 200, wasn't it? Or
No, we
just
did 250.
all right, so we're slowly increasing that,
Right.
and not to the benefit of the taxpayers, because they're not understanding that we are using money, but it is going to run out.
Well, it's their money.
Right.
And we did actually, originally, when Kim Lord was here, she's no longer with us, and she was an avid against using fund balance, but it had gotten so high that it was actually her suggestion this year that we use 600,000 of it, and we used 475. And, you know, I miss her this budget season, I'll tell you that, but I still believe, you know, so that's
Well,
why I'm comfortable with the 475.
But I don't think while we're discussing the rest of the budget, it should be sitting in there, because that's a number that we haven't agreed on, since we're basically gonna have to start over here.
475?
No, I thought you were peeking to try to find your exact percentage. Yeah, no, and it
And
was
so
up
that's-
like, it was up
that's-
like 21%.
And that's why I made the motion. We can go ahead and call the question unless somebody else has something to say, but I feel I needed to make that motion
Yeah.
even losing.
Absolutely. All right, so, all those in favor of Jim's motion to remove the 475?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Opposed?
3 opposed, 2 in favor, motion fails. Okay, want to try again?
Sure. Like I said, this is gonna take a little time, because like I said, it's what we might call nickel and dime stuff, but what this proposal does, is it gives the departments enough to operate, and it takes across the board, and it's nickel and dime stuff, but like I said, it's $63,000 from the town, and also from, you know, and 120 from the Board of Ed, which I have a few questions. If they get answered, we could put money back in the Board of Ed as we go through. To start with, under Selectmen, I did remove the $3,000 that was still there for community outreach. I'll move that, we remove that from the Selectmen's budget.
All right, so,
Second.
okay, did you get that, Peg, the first and second? I believe it was Jim.
Thank you.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor of removing the 3,000 from community outreach?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
Motion clearly passes. Continue.
Under Town Clerk, I removed $600 out of their supplies and equipment. And looking at her proposal, she had $600 in there for office supplies, and my understanding is we have office supplies under a general contract under the Selectmen's budget, if I am not correct in that.
That's true, but they need special books, so we don't have that in our general office supplies.
Okay, so that was a question I had, so we can leave that. That was not something that they can get from your
That's
department?
correct.
Okay, that's fine. Did not touch the treasurer, did not touch the assessor, did not touch the tax collector. I didn't feel that there was anything from reading what they presented that we could take from them. Town planner's office, I did remove more from professional services and brought it down to $15,000, and I'll make that as a motion to remove, drop professional services to $15,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I would take more out.
Wait, hold on one sec. Well, wait, let that motion go and you can discuss it. Who was the second on that?
Me.
You, Steve was the second. Any discussion? Go ahead, Steve.
I think we had only spent $3,000 out of 20,000 for this year. So if we're not gonna use it, let's remove it. Take it all out.
He's, hold on one second. Professional services. Any other further discussion? Anybody agree, disagree? All right, so let's vote on that motion, and if, all those in favor, how much are we removing? I'm sorry, Miss.
I'm removing $11,500.
Okay, all those in favor of removing the $11,500 from professional services?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed.
Motion. Yep, I'm waiting.
I ended up with 15,000.
15,000 we dropped it to, so we took $11,500 out.
And the motion passed. No, it was Kathy, Cindy, and Bill that voted in favor, Steve and Jim that were opposed, because I think Steve's gonna revisit it.
Is there an allowance for someone to speak from the audience?
If it's affecting your department, absolutely.
It's not affecting my department, but I do know that her expenses are like mine, and they're end of the year expenses.
Mhm.
So we want to be a little cautious about what we're doing. I can't speak to the specifics of it, but I know they're end of the year, so it looks skewed now.
Yep.
By the end of June, you'll see a different picture.
But you didn't present that picture to us.
Okay, my next one, under, I looked at their travel and education and news, and there's a lot of conferences and whatnot that are attended that are not required of the job. So I removed $200 from travel, and I dropped education and dues to $1,453, and I'll make that as a motion.
From the town planner?
Yes, reduced to $800 to travel and reduced to $1,453 to education and dues.
Okay, is there a second on that? All right, Kathy's a second. Any discussion?
So that was 200 and 2,000?
200 and 2,000, yes.
And it was travel and education and dues.
Yep.
And bringing your final total to what, 500 and 800?
Bringing it to 800 and 1,453.
All right, any discussion on that?
Can I take a minute to look at the budget?
Yep, absolutely. Kathy was the second. Yep, go ahead, Cindy. Oh, I'm sorry. She's looking up her thing, so I was giving her a minute.
The only thing I would caution you is because there's been a turnover of staff in there, they may need that extra education money, but I'm only putting that out there because of that loss of staff.
Let Cindy find, she just wanted to see the backup.
2,000 out of education and dues?
Yes.
That looks like we'll be cutting out some of the agencies that she had, associations that we're members of.
I didn't look at any conferences.
No, he only looked at non-mandatory.
Non-mandatory conferences, if you want to attend, you can attend, but they're not mandatory.
But you have the list and you know what's mandatory and what's not.
I think, yeah, because Bob and her, she had discussed it when she was here the last time.
I'm looking, APA National itself is $2,000, which is more than half of the budget. Is that something that's mandatory or not?
I don't believe it is. National conference is really important.
Is it written in the thing? I mean, if it is, she should have written it in the thing. Yes, dear.
But if we
What
could,
can we do to help you?
I know he looks like,
No, you move.
Perfectly happy to continue
I
seeing
don't know
questions.
why I feel like the eye is going.
I know, exactly. Go ahead.
So, in this particular budget line, as I read this, there's still funding available for all of the association dues. Those will help her to stay up to date on certifications. Some of the national and the regional conference, if those are coming out, there is a CEU component to that. It has not been made clear to me, and if somebody else has, then I'd be happy to stand corrected, whether or not that's the only way of getting those CEUs. I don't believe it is. Generally speaking, there are alternatives to that. It's nice to go on a conference, I get that, but the state has cracked down and eliminated travel for training purposes in certain budget years, not under this administration, but under the previous. It's one of those things you do when it's hard choice time.
Most of them travel in my company anymore, we do it on the computer.
That's what I kind of wanted to get a feel for, whether it was just conferences or whether it was a association membership that for some reason you had to have, or something that they're gonna come back to and say, I can't do this unless I have this. And so you just tied my hands. It's kind of, I flying by the seat of our, we don't have that information.
Anybody else? All those in favor of those 2 cuts in the town planners?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed?
Motion passes, 3 in favor, 2 opposed. Did you get the 3 favors? Kathy is in favor, Bill in favor, Steve in favor, Jim and Cindy opposed.
She's screaming tomorrow.
You can. She'll hear me.
For
reducing travel from 800.
But, sorry.
Education and dues
14.
going to 14.
Under building department, I removed the $500 for capital purchases. I understand that's for, emergency repair. I understand that's if there's an emergency situation and needs to shore something up. But I think if that incident should occur, that we can find the money within some line item in the budget somewhere to make that happen. So with that, to try and make this budget come out to something that's palatable to the town, I removed that $500. I'll make that as a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Did not touch the registrar of voters. Human services.
Hang on, not all of us have our pages in order, they weren't stated.
Yeah, they got pushed up out of the press.
So bear with me a moment so I can keep up with you. Where are we at, human services, you said?
Yes.
Hold on, I got it. Go, registrar, human services, go ahead.
Human services, I removed $200 out of supplies and equipment, and I dropped general assistance by $2,000. And I'll make that as a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Hold on one second. 200 out of supplies and equipment. Where was the other one? General assistance?
2,000 on general assistance.
Could we make those motions separate?
Yeah, you can. Well, you have to
I'll make
rescind
it,
it.
I'll make it separate, that's fine. No one seconded it, so I can go. I move remove 200, drop supplies and equipment by $200 to $1,050 under human services, sorry.
Is there a second on that motion? All right, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So 10, 50, yeah.
I move we drop general assistance from $14,000 to $12,000.
Is there a second on that?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
This, I looked at the average over the last 3 years I've had, and she was in that area of 12,000, so I thought it'd be a fair number we could work with.
Cindy? I heard you.
Yeah, I just want to understand better how, do you have a budget for that amount that then you give out as people come in, or how does the general assistance number get spent?
The general assistance funding is, as you know, for our lowest income clients in town. is provide financial assistance in an emergency situation to those individuals and families in need. We allot up to $500 per year per household for assistance, and there is an application process that is deeply vetted. People have to show their income, their bank statements, their expenses. We examine everything before awarding them that funding, so it's not just handed out easily. The money is typically given to people to help with energy assistance, so either to get a deliverable fuel during heating season or to prevent a disconnection of utilities. And it's also mainly used to help with rental assistance for folks that are having a hard time meeting their rent and to prevent evictions. This year, I'm happy to say that I was able to secure a $2,500 grant from the United Way, and that helped offset the costs this year. So if you're looking at what has been spent to date, for this fiscal year, we're a little bit higher unspent because I had secured $2,500 in grant funding. I'll go after that funding again for this coming up year. The application hasn't been released yet. As you know, with grants, nothing's guaranteed. We're happy that we got it this past year. We'll try to get it again this year. So I can't say that if you cut that money that it's not going to impact our lowest income clients. But I'm hoping to offset that again with grant this year.
Question for you,
Sure.
since we got you talking.
That's all right. Go ahead. I have my copy.
You've been here how many years now?
3.
Okay, in those 3 years, has those numbers grown or reduced? The
In-
request, not approval, but request.
The requests have grown. We've seen more requests from people, particularly at Mill Pond, requesting rent assistance, and it has been proven helpful in preventing some evictions.
Thank
This
you.
is our first year also, just to let you know, that we started collecting harder statistics in our group. So next year I'll be able to give you some really good spreadsheets for
Good.
data.
Anybody else? Okay, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Hey,
Motion passes. Did you get that? Everybody okay?
Next department was the police department. I know that they took $14,000 from them last budget cycle. I just only make another reduction of $1,000 out of education and dues out of their budget. So bring it to $42,041. I move, I make that as a motion.
second.
What was the total, 42,041?
Yep, 42,041, reduction of $1,000.
You said that was out of education and dues, right?
Yep. It still gives them an increase for the year of almost $2,200. on it.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. Only opposed was Cindy.
No, I didn't oppose.
Oh, you didn't?
I said aye
Okay,
on the wrong
whatever.
time.
It's just
Okay, at the
that-
wrong time. So opposed, nobody's opposed.
You were causing trouble, Cindy, come
No,
on.
and I want to clarify, we don't have any new police officers in this budget.
Actually, down one.
Yeah.
We're down one, just because I do not want wrong information out there.
Okay, I did not touch emergency management, did not touch communications. Broadbrook Fire Department, I did leave in the $30,500 increase in part-time salary to hopefully be able to let them bring a position in. I did make some cuts in other line items in their budget, hopefully that they can make work and still fund the position that they need. Then I'll just throw them out there and we can do some individually, or we can do it as a whole if you'd like.
I'd say individually.
Okay. Professional services, I cut $1,000 out of professional services. It still gives them an increase of $1,250. I make that as a motion, sorry.
Is there a second for discussion? Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Motion passes.
Under supplies and equipment, I cut $1,787 to bring it to $58,000 even.
That's, Kathy was the second. Any discussion?
Can you repeat that again?
Supplies and equipment is cut by $1,787 to bring it to $58,000.
So that's, you're gonna cut the money for the hoses, right? That's hoses. Right? I mean, supplies, equipment, I'm assuming.
There is a lot of things in that category. Again, I'm
Right.
trying to, still supply
No,
the
I
money and
understand.
supply the position they're looking for. And maybe that part-time salary position, if they feel they need some of this as the year goes on, that they may have to reduce some hours, just trying to make a budget that we can get past and still supply the departments with what they're really and truly asking for.
No, and I appreciate what you're doing, Bill.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
Motion passes 3 in favor, 2 opposed.
Under education and dues, I cut $1,500 out of education and dues to bring it to $19,500.
Kathy was a second. Any discussion?
Yes.
Five.
We have enough, the last time I talked to the chief a couple months ago, we had new folks coming on. The state's cut what we have for training. So to do that would be prohibitive in trying to cover what we're trying to do for the Broad Fire Department. I don't believe it's in our best advantages to cut that.
Okay. Anybody else? More discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so all those in favor was 1? Opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed.
Okay, so fails. She's opposed.
All right, under fire vehicles and gas, I cut $2,000 to bring it to $49,000. I make that as a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Got that back? Okay, the motion passes. Sorry, go ahead.
Public Works, I move that we reduce supplies and equipment by $1,500,
Bring it to 10,000.
bringing it to $10,000.
Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
Any discussion?
We've already, he was like 1.24% increase overall.
I said earlier.
Lenny's already been pummeled. So I'm not necessarily in agreement of cutting public works in any way, shape, or form. I don't want to go to a horse and buggy on the road. Even if he's got the paperwork that he needs to fill that out.
What was the motion?
To reduce supplies and equipment by $1,500 to $10,000.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Motion passes. Did you get your, you get back?
Jim Ansky.
Yep.
Under education and dues for public works, I reduced it by $1,000 to $3,000. I'm gonna make that as a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a discussion? I'm sorry, any discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead, you guys can talk. Well, not in the motion, sorry. Well,
In the discussion,
yeah, we can in the discussion.
It's just a part of it.
Yeah. Sorry, he's my Robert's Rule guru, so I just tend to lean on him a lot with my Robert's Rules.
You may not be ready to let it go.
Well, we can't talk during the motion, someone should mention it to us before the motion.
Yeah, go ahead. I just like to make sure. Okay, you're supposed to be talking.
I have people that need OSHA 10 certifications. I have 6 guys whose OSHA 10 has expired. We do have, I do have 10 guys that need regular training of some sort. If I don't know what the rest of your plans were, but
That was it.
I'd rather, if you could take just 500 out of there and take 500 out of standby pay, I could live with that.
Sure.
So, you're going to rescind your motion?
I will rescind my motion based on the information presented to me. Gotta get the second.
Kathy seconded, just quietly. It was Kathy.
All right, so I will remake the motion to remove $500 from education and dues under public works.
Is there a second? Okay. Any discussion? All
Don't
those,
think,
oh, sorry, Jim. Go ahead.
I don't think we should do it.
Okay. Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Good, Peg?
Anthony, you in favor?
Motion passes.
Okay, I move that to remove $500 from standby to make it $4,500.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Motion passes.
I missed one item under Crawford Fire Department. This is just a question. They list lap insurance at $26,000. I thought insurance was covered under the town as a lower part of the budget. Is that something that's required? Or is it an additional insurance that's not covered under the town's insurance?
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's anyone here today, but
I'll
that's
tell you,
20.
whatever it is, they only have $800 left in that line. So whatever it is, they use it.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he's just trying to
that's required.
ask
Okay,
one.
I just
I
asked.
can't prove it.
Okay. All right, that's fine. That's just a question because
That's why we
it's a,
didn't cover it.
yeah, no, that's fine. That's just a question I have. I'm looking over things, that's all. Under town property. This is where it probably gets left thrown. Capital purchases was reduced to 0 from $1,000. I move we reduce capital purchases by $1,000 to 0.
Kathy seconded.
Yeah.
Any discussion?
Just keep in mind,
Hold on, wait, she's, one at a time. Go ahead.
I just, what was that for?
Okay.
well, that's basically the only money I have to replace any chairs, tables, none of that, any fixtures. There's nothing there. So when a chair breaks,
All right, I should have asked my question first.
You know.
I'm sorry. I did this wrong.
so, I mean, it's basically there just for whatever I need because there's no other place to get it.
I forgot to ask my question before I made my motion, so
Oh.
I'll rescind my motion.
Okay, can, rescind your second?
Okay.
Okay. Do you want to ask a question?
Yes, this is my question of you, and I've been noticing that a lot of new LED lights are going up around town, and we have $142,000 in there for electricity for streetlights. Is there any savings I can use in that department, that area?
Funny you should ask. Because I was on the phone with realizing the budget did not pass last night. I was on the phone with my Eversource go-to guy this morning. And we could, geez, I hate to give you too much.
Really? Did you just say that?
Well, I really hate to give you too much, because I think everybody should give a little.
Yeah, I
Not
agree.
me, I'm already probably at 1% now with what you're doing. But I can give you $7,500 out of that.
We got him in a raise.
What
But
did
it'd
your
be better if you
elementary
took only 5.
But keep in mind also that lights run weather permitting. If we have a long, dark winter, we could go over in that line. I'm just saying.
Maybe 5,000 would be
Just
safe.
That's good.
So we gave you 7,500, you made it 5.
That's fine. I'll take the
So
5.
I'll take the 5 because I'm going after something else.
That just reduced, that maybe not have to make cuts elsewhere, that's all. So, thank you. All right, so I'll start with that one. I move we reduce electricity for streetlights by $5,000 to bring it to $137,000.
Is there a second?
I second.
Cindy? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes.
So it's going to 137.
137, yes. So what am I actually cut? All right, my original cut to this line was $7,500 to this department. I had some out of vehicle maintenance, I had some out of building repair, and I had a little bit out of building supplies. No?
You come out of the other one.
I'm sorry, I was,
He
what
wants
did you
to
say? I'm sorry.
Well, here, let me
His
just
jaw's
talk
still
to you.
on the floor.
For building supplies,
No.
No?
building repairs, I already cut it 14 grand.
Yeah.
So to take me, I'm already short this year, and it's putting me behind. I'll just tell you that now we're diverting back to when I first started to work here. Normally, all our furnaces, everything get cleaned. Now I have to wait for July 1st to do anything. So I ate up all that money trying to keep my head above water. And vehicle maintenance, absolutely
No,
not.
no.
You can't touch that. I mean, That includes the senior buses, we take care of the senior buses, all the staffing cars, everything. But, building electricity,
Well,
you want to take it out of that one? No, he only wants,
I'm only looking for $2,500.
only
That's all I'm looking
2,500, you
for.
can take it.
okay, take the 2,500 out of the buildings electricity.
And for the simple reason is we're, with all the LED lighting that we're doing with the fund the CIP money,
Okay.
We should have a little savings there as well.
Is there
we're
a
showing
motion on
about
the table?
8.5%.
We have already knocked it down 14,000, anticipating some savings.
I've got a question before we make a motion, since we're getting discussion from them.
Yep.
Building repair, and maybe it's somewhere else. We recently had a thing happen on property of ours that we're ending up paying a $10,000 deductible. We've got the sewer line in there that's going to have to be replaced. I understand maybe we've worked a deal with the pump at Scout Hall and between Scout Hall and whatever. I'm trying to find out, do we have enough money to, to accomplish all that? Is that under building repairs?
No.
No, that's, the two south roads certainly wouldn't be.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, it really wouldn't have anything to do with the pump station either,
Okay, that's all.
in my opinion.
Building repair would be, and this is.
Is
a
that
very touchy
anywhere in the,
subject.
is either of those projects anywhere in this budget?
No.
Well, the $10,000 deductible is being paid through some,
This year and done.
there's a insurance, we don't have anything to do with that line, but apparently there's a line somewhere that says insurance deductible or something like that.
Right,
That's where that $10,000 came from.
okay.
And as far as I know, that's all we should be liable for.
So if the roof blows off, if the roof at Scout Hall leaks, not because of, just natural wear and tear.
Pick
that's
another
not-
building.
Well, we own these things.
Yeah, but there's,
And I'm looking for things
certain
about,
items in
they're
Scout Hall.
responsible to 10,000 as I
Talk about
understand.
the roof at the town hall.
Okay, roof at Town Hall.
If the roof
I
at
don't
Town
want
Hall
to talk
started to
about
leak-
that because you figured that into your numbers.
If the roof in the town hall started to leak, that's what we use that number for. That number's for all our boiler, anything that happens to any of our HVAC systems or our boilers, any lights that go out, any windows that get broke, anything that has to be done, an outlet goes, we lose electricity,
So we have enough money to take care of all that
Well, I hope so.
in the budget.
We're hoping not to have a lot of those problems.
Okay, thank
I
you.
mean, Jim, honestly, it's,
I guess gotta make-
we don't know what's gonna happen.
I understand.
So we have a number in there that we think we can work with. If something catastrophic happens, like if we have to replace a roof, then we're talking different things. This is for repairs.
Okay,
This is for patching the leak in the roof, not replacing. So
putting doors on.
yes.
if it
I'm making sure.
Well, not just putting on new doors because we want new doors and the door gets broken, yes.
Right, and we're maintaining all our buildings now at this point.
We are, actually, yes.
Okay, and we figured the cost of doing that into all this budget. Okay,
Except that Joe just said that he's had to wait on some things for the furnace and
Cleaning
stuff.
the furnace.
So I'll move that we reduce electricity for buildings by $2,500.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Road improvements,
Going to 132.50.
yes.
Before we move on to the next one, and the next motion, the hydrants, in my mind, falls along the line of the trash collection. Did we get numbers from Connecticut Water that we asked for a
These
month or
are-
two ago?
These are, that's the number I got from them when I created my budget this year.
I understand that, but we had asked for what the usage was between Broadbrook and Warehouse.
Oh, we did not.
You said it would be difficult to get out of them. We'd asked, can we have the numbers? And since this can't happen this month, apparently, what's the breakdown between Warehouse?
Yeah, I
usage
don't,
and
we would have to ask, I would
Connecticut
have, well,
Water.
I hate to say I would assume, but I would think that, well, they know where their hydrants are, so someone could figure out, I guess, which ones were in the district or not.
That's kind of important.
Yes.
Can we figure that out, please?
Is that a policy though, thing?
No, it's a numerical item. District is responsible for water and hydrants in their district. Currently, the town pays $330,000. We had this discussion in the last month.
That's not true. You know, you may want it to be, and I understand why you would want it to be, but in terms of the MOU between the town and the fire district, hydrants are not mentioned. That is, so to say that they're responsible for that, well,
Under
that might be
Connecticut
something
law,
that we
they're
want to do.
responsible.
What's that?
For Connecticut law, that's what they were formed for.
Not for hydrants, though.
They supply
So
water,
there's
right?
an agreement with, we have a signed document. It's a 14-point MOU between the district and the town, and nowhere are hydrants mentioned. So, you know, that probably is something that will be a discussion point down the road. But
When down the road?
I don't know, ask the first selectman, I'm not in charge of that. But
Bob?
my point would be, they're governing, their form of government has already adopted their spending plan for the next year. It's
Yes.
already, as far as I know, already been submitted to
660,000.
OPM. So the process to undo that, I don't know if there even is a process to undo that.
Putting it out there.
You can't put $330,000 on the district
I didn't say.
with 6 minutes to go in the fiscal
I
year.
didn't say it would happen this year, as we discussed the garbage. Jason.
Excuse me for making a presumption, I assumed we were a wacky world.
No, I want to see what the number, I want to see what the distribution is by district. We'd asked for that some time ago. I haven't seen numbers.
All right. Well, let's keep moving on this one and then we'll get those.
The operations
Later.
manager thinks it's about that.
Road
That's kind of
improvements,
what I thought it was, but.
road improvements and road maintenance, sand and salt I considered, but I dropped it, I did not make any changes there. Senior center, I removed $2,500. I have it in 4 different places. I removed $520 from professional services. I removed $250 from supplies and equipment. I removed $400 from education and dues, and I removed $1,335 from programs.
How much is that total?
$2,500, $2,505.
We would have to do them separately.
Yeah, I'm gonna do them separately. Professional services, I move we reduce under senior center by $520.
What is it? So it brings it to
Brings
2,000.
it to 2,000.
Is there a second on that motion? Any discussion on that motion?
I have a question about the professional services and the Hartford Current and Journal Enquirer left for subscriptions, or is that for pinning and ads?
Go ahead.
Those are for subscriptions.
Basically, I removed one of the appliance repairs.
Go ahead.
Yeah, if I may, at the beginning of the budget season, this number that's in there has already been reduced from what I had asked for. The annual hood cleaning is $600, and that cannot be removed from the budget.
I'm sorry, what did you?
The annual hood cleaning over our stove, that has to be done every year.
Hood clean. I didn't hear hood, that's what.
Sorry. And I had asked initially in the budget for at least 2 allotments of an appliance repair at $450 each. Maintaining the appliances are under my budget, not under building, and it's something that needs to be done. So if you reduce the budget for appliance repairs and something breaks, I'm just gonna be coming back to ask you for money. So I don't suggest that you pull money from that part of the budget.
I'm gonna guess you know about her appliances.
Yes.
So how old are they? I mean,
How-
what appliances and how, like, what are we talking about?
We're
Well,
responsible for the stove, the refrigerator, the freezer.
37 years.
That's what I was, yeah.
She maintains the refrigerator and the hood over the stove. Town Properties takes care of the stove because the fire department uses it. The hood, the Board of Health has been in several times, well, they were in a few times, and we had to get it cleaned.
Yep.
And it costs us about $500 to fix that. So that, yeah, but it'll be cheaper now because we're not waiting every 14 years to clean it. The refrigerator in the past couple of years, it's given her some problems, and we've spent up to about $1,300 on it. So far this year, it hasn't,
No, we had one $450.
so far 400 this year. It's, you know, honestly, it should probably somehow be replaced because it is old and inefficient, you know. But unfortunately, it doesn't qualify for CIP because it's under
It's under.
20,000. If you put it in capital purchases, it's not gonna make the cut. So it's just a matter of when it goes, maybe we can, it's a double door commercial refrigerator. So, but it's working fine now. I guess it all boils down to if you want to cut it now and we keep our fingers crossed and nothing happens to it, you know.
Thank you.
But the stove is definitely, the health department will check that this
Yeah.
year because
Because
we
we,
blew them off several years, I think.
Need a map. All right, sorry, I just want a clarification on that. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Wait, are we doing each one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
just the
separate,
motion
so
just for
please just
professional
do it.
services.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed.
Wait a minute, Kathy, you were aye? Okay, opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, so there was 4 in favor, 1 opposed. Sorry, go ahead.
Supplies and equipment, I removed $250, I'd make a motion to remove $250 from supplies and equipment under senior center.
Hold on. Senior center supplies and equipment. Second on that?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay. I don't have to look in my book, I'll just ask her, she's here, so. Under supplies and equipment?
we don't have a very large budget. We have $750. I can easily give up the 200 for stamps and the 100 for the coffee urn. So I can do that, but other than that, it's our supplies for the coffee for the seniors. And I'm hard pressed to get them to make any donation for the coffee.
Yep.
So I can't
Right.
go much lower than that.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Opposed.
Wait,
Oh, I'm sorry, aye.
all those in favor first?
Aye.
Okay. Opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed?
Okay, so motion fails.
I reduced education and dues by $400. I make that as a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Will you second, Steve?
Yes.
Okay, any discussion?
I thought there was a duplicate in here between here and human resources. That was one of the reasons I made that deduction here, so.
I'm on senior center, not human resources.
Who was that one?
What, NASW
Yeah,
membership?
I think it's listed there and under senior center.
They're under
You mean human
411,
service?
700.
Yeah. Is that
Is that a du,
Is that a member?
It should only be in the senior center. It's charged to the senior center, not the human services.
so did you see it under human services?
There's
Here's your senior.
Oh, human services is back this
Forward.
way. Oh, sorry, so I'm going the wrong way. So what number?
411, 700 is human services.
No, it's right there.
Okay.
411 700.
Oh, this is my book. You mean that? CPR renewals and other trainings, 485?
Yeah, there was a license. Here was one membership.
Oh, yeah. So under human services, Chris, you also have a description, education dues covers the cost of 1 annual license renewal, 3 class memberships, monthly class trainings, and annual class conference, 1 NASW membership. So it's actually listed under human services and listed under senior.
I apologize for that, shouldn't have been. So clearly take it from one or the other because we don't have to pay for that one.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
Jerome, do we have numbers on participants for the senior center?
All right, hold on. Let him make his motion on the floor. All right.
You're going to amend that to human services?
No, because it's in both places.
So it'll come out of the senior center. And if we have to move it to later or whatever, we'll take it.
All right, so clarify again where you took it from your Education and dues, and you took what, 400?
I took 400, I don't.
Making it-
Yeah, making it 1,100.
Okay.
Excuse me, Bill, was it under senior?
This is under senior center, yes.
Education. And Kathy, second. Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, motion clearly passes.
And
What again?
Everybody was in favor but Jim.
Troublemaker, right?
And under programs, I move to reduce programs by $1,335, bring it to $4,500.
Second.
Okay, I'm sorry, first, and who was second? Steve? Okay, any discussion?
Yeah, I have numbers for programs. How many seniors participate on a daily basis, or a week or a month? You were gonna I asked you that at the senior center. I haven't seen any numbers for that respect.
That's something that is gonna take a little bit of time. We have daily sign-ins, but I can't pull a staff member to go through all of our daily
I asked,
sign-ins right
but when I
now.
went to the senior commission a month ago, ma'am,
Mhm.
I had asked a month prior to that. Feels like I'm getting pushed off here.
No, but
I have numbers by programs, but I don't have average daily usage. I have the numbers from
Steve?
Melissa. I'm just wondering why it's taking 2 months. That's my question. It's a set of data points. And I've
And
heard,
that's something that we will gladly work on. As I said, I can't pull a staff person to go through every daily sign-in, and we have to look at all of our lunch participation too. I have provided you with all of the other statistics that you asked for.
it's been 160 a year waiting for an answer.
Okay, well, then we will address it, and we can discuss it with her and Bob. We can let it go for now, then.
Okay.
How much money was that?
$1,335.
35.
Yep, 1,335. Brings it to 4,500.
What is it?
So it cuts it in half of what we did last year.
What did the Board of Selectmen approve? The 7,800?
Was that motion second?
Yes,
Yes.
Kathy, Steve seconded this time.
So we're in discussion mode?
We're in discussion. Which, lost my page after the third program. It's okay. All right.
I just, yeah, I don't know what the right answer is on this. Never mind. It's just sad what we're doing here. Let's beat old people up now. That's why I wanted to get rid of garbage. That was easy. Just get rid of $600,000 or whatever and be done with it. Okay,
Eliminate senior center.
moving on, sorry. I had an emotional moment. I'm done.
You done?
Yep.
Don't fix it.
Yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Opposed?
Opposed.
Motion passes.
Park and Recreation. Under professional services, I remove $1,080, bringing it to $14,000. I make that as a motion.
Second.
Hold on. Okay. You're first, and Steve was second. Oh, sorry, Jim was second. All right, discussion.
This one here. 15,
How much was it?
only 1,800.
Just stay by still.
The machine did it for me. I didn't.
Right.
Machine was
That one there is what it's talking about.
I'm sorry. Bill,
Oh.
what was the number?
It was reduced by $1,080 to $14,000.
Oh,
Okay. So 1,080?
Yep.
Was there something you were
Says
looking at
1,800.
specifically, or just that they,
There was a lot of, I don't have that in my book. I mean, there was-
Do you want, here, go ahead, take my book, because I think your stapled stuff is.
I can staple the copies.
sure, on the copier. Let's get that fixed next.
I removed $1,080. Bring it to $14,000.
Because it says 1,800.
Well, now I can't. So hold on. Bill, what line were we on?
Professional services.
Professional services. Basically, what I did in this one is I rolled the dice on vandalism.
Okay.
No.
We're rolling the dice
Then
on
we better
vandalism.
not become the
Let's go.
police
Melissa
department
says we can
then.
roll the
Come on
dice
now.
on vandalism.
Well,
All right,
if
any
there's
other
a problem,
discussion?
Then they come back and then.
You already
Melissa
cut
just
it,
said-
just to let you know, you cut that out the last time.
Huh? Go
When you
ahead.
did the last cuts, you cut $1,500, so you already cut the vandalism
No,
out.
we did, no, we couldn't.
So, well, you better hope.
Are we good? We made the vandalism stuff?
There you go. All right, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Cindy,
I
what were
didn't
you?
vote yet.
Melissa said okay.
Opposed.
Motion fails. Okay. Can we take a 5-minute break? Is it motion?
10-minute break.
Okay, that's fine. 10-minute break?
Thank you.
Who's motion?
I make it.
Second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes.
I heard him crack as I got up.
How much money have we taken out? What's, how much money do you think we've taken out? All of this.
It's not enough.
But it's. See, I kind of rather do a big chunk.
Jay, Jason, that's a facilities job. You're on notice.
Good evening.
Don't tempt me, dude, I got a list.
So you're a little low on the table now. The trade-off is the table's
Really, Jay?
I know, I could tell.
Town planner was reduced by $11,000. Oh, yeah, there's still, yeah, basically the big thing was covering contract service for EDC, whatever. Well,
You left your mint over here.
Well, you got the right guy sitting back there with a blue shirt. Good job.
A couple pizzas delivered or something?
No, but I'm not.
Come right out of public works.
I'll take it out of my pocket.
Where's Bill?
Hey, Bill?
I have more for you. What is that? I want to know.
It's called a dime.
That's a maple tree.
There's not many people who know that reference.
Can I split it, put it on the next?
Some of this Japanese knotweed.
Professor of.
I know, but she's sending like sketchy kind of
Yeah, Joe.
No, I'm good.
Oh, that's so cool.
Thank you. All this there.
Still got plenty if you want.
Thank you, Joe.
I know, and I wasn't that
I
prepared.
miss the soda machine. Why do we have a soda machine anymore? Diet soda water in it. A bottle of water.
Yeah, funny how that happened.
Is that what you're doing?
You should have seen this.
Bob, why don't we have a soda machine anymore? A water machine? I should be allowed to kill myself. I don't want to kill myself.
You always take them right out from Moscow.
Like I said, I've been doing it for 80 years. I think if
Stop, Sam. I don't get to see anything there.
You're still allowed
I'm
excise.
in lockdown.
it'll give you an early Friday.
Show me something. Show me what we can do. He's not even this
This just came up yesterday. The kids come look at it, I think everything is limited. It's where you're going to limit it or restrictions and then in
Senior student has
Oh, really? You could have Look, it's right on.
No, I haven't.
That's exactly what Cindy wanted. Did you give her a copy? Yes. Perfect.
And because I passed the test, they ensure me to go to places. And anywhere I go, I
Wow, more stuff magically appeared while we were gone.
Yes.
Oh, this is the debt service.
What's that?
Here's Cindy. She was reading your mind, so. All right. Thank you. All right, I'm going to call the workshop back to order at, what is my clock, 9:03 p.m. All right, sorry, Bill, where did we leave? Just so you know, Gail also put in front of you the pro forma debt amortization schedule, so you would have that. When we are done with our portion, she also has some information on the revenues, which we will add in. And she also gave me the email from Mark Chapman, who is the bond and investment consultant, and he gave the okay for the $1 million for the M13. But we'll go over that when we get to the revenue, but that's what the paperwork is in front of you, we'll go over that. All right, sorry, Bill, go ahead, I needed that break. What do you need? Okay, all right, go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's a totally different thing.
Sneaker store in the park. Oh, Jesus, on that order.
What kind of change have we made to the bottom line so far?
Did you hear her?
I'm sorry?
Cindy,
What kind of change so far have we made to the bottom line? Do we know?
how much of a change have we
Difference?
made?
If it's easy, find. If not,
We're working on it for now.
I'm fine, I got my stuff out of order here.
Go, Sue.
You're at 1.88%. That's not making changes to Board of Ed. It is putting in the debt service and the insurance.
Did you already change the revenue figures in there?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so we'll go over the revenue. Well, all right, Bill, you're in the middle of the year, so we'll finish with you and then we'll
Parks and Rec.
we'll
Is that where
explain.
we were?
Yeah, then we'll go into the revenue of what she changed. Yeah, I'll let you. Sorry.
I lost my spot. There it is, perfect.
You're in a roll, Bill. Keep going.
All right. The next one was to, under Park and Rec, under supplies and equipment, to remove $1,000 to $22,750.
I'm gonna do that on this one. I'm sorry, is there a second? Okay, second for discussion. And I'm sorry, repeat again, where did you take it out of?
Supplies and equipment, I took $1,000.
Okay, bringing it to 22,750?
$22,750.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed.
You gotta wait, guys, for her to ask that.
Was that just two in favor? No, they said in favor and then sometimes
I
one
said
falls off.
opposed.
and- All those opposed?
Opposed. See, you gotta say opposed.
opposed, I said it how many times?
Three opposed,
I'm
motion
getting-
fails.
Get punchy, huh?
I was gonna say
The next
something
one under,
else about
Park and Rec.
tourism.
Was site improvement to remove $1,000.
Second,
How much on site improvement, 3,000?
1,000.
1,000.
Why
Is
does
there a
my,
second? Did you say second?
Sure, why not?
Discussion,
going from what to what on that?
19 to 18.
1980.
It says
19 to
19 to
18.
16.
It says 16 and 3,000.
You
I'm
changed it,
like,
I
changed
think.
well,
I didn't know
I
that.
talked to the director. Yeah,
all right, so now we're looking at only $1,000 there. Okay. I was confused.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Motion passes. Anything else?
Really?
Under Warehouse Point Library, I removed $3,000. To bring it to $257,000.
Second.
Okay, did you get those first and second? Any discussion on that? All those in-
We probably should be removing more, but I hate to do it. I mean,
You're
it's
pretty much
just,
flatlining him from last, well, no, you're giving him
We're giving him
$45.
$45.
$45.
Oh, wait.
You can pass the hat.
is that what you're gonna do, Jay?
You got the hat.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Could you let the ayes go first? All those in favor?
Aye.
You were an aye. 3 in favor, opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed.
Motion passes. You got that? We should have that like down pat by now. Next. Yeah.
I did not touch any of the boards, commissions across the board.
We get commissions? I don't see anything in there where we get money.
Under activities, fees, and associations,
Hang on, some of us have that messed up paper.
yeah,
Wait, just get-
Okay, you jumped through all the commissions?
yeah, I didn't touch anything there. It was-
Okay.
Activities, fees, and associations, the housing ed, my understanding is that is not a required payment we need to make, so I did remove that $1,800.
Where's housing ed? Okay, housing ed. Okay. That's
Second.
Fine. Second. Any discussion? Can somebody tell me what housing ed is, Bob?
Where is he talking?
Under,
I would, is human services talking about that?
Oh, sure. It's the Housing and Education Resource Center, First, it's in Hartford, and it's an organization that provides support, I think I'm talking about the correct one, but without the full acronym, provides support to folks that are facing eviction, having landlord tenant issues, or also facing foreclosure, and provides a free resource and counseling.
How often do we use it?
We do refer clients to that, honestly. I would have to ask Kirk for a statistic of how many East Windsor residents go to them, but we do refer to them, especially when we have folks that are being evicted, yes, sir.
but what you guys also do with, you also have your line item where you help people.
Ours is different.
Okay.
Our eviction line item is because when someone is actually evicted, we have to take physical possession of their property. So our eviction line is to maintain the storage units and the costs associated with that. It's not to provide, that's not for counseling.
Gotcha. Support. Okay, I was just curious, sorry. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Motion passes, only opposed. Go ahead.
Under recognition, I removed the $500 we had there to zero.
Second. Oh, was that a motion? I'm sorry.
Yes, yes, I make it as a motion.
Okay, second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
3 in favor, so it's still opposed, still passes.
So it's going to 0?
Yep.
Under Broadbrook Library, I did put the $1 in there for Mr. Anderson.
Thank you.
I make that as a motion.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Any discussion? I will. I don't know that there really has, I'm in favor of it. I believe that it can't hurt anything, it really can't. And it's a good faith gesture. I don't really know that it has to be there because he can come and bring it up again like he did this year, and the Board of Selectmen did put money in there. I do believe it's a good faith gesture, and that's my discussion. So, any other discussion?
Yes.
Should we do it
Go
for
ahead.
the youth center too?
Well, let's go one at a time.
Well, they've had, I applaud Mr. Anderson for his attempts for having a plan for the Broadbrook Library. However, the Broadbrook Library is not even listed in the state library. Listings as of 2012 was the last time it showed in the listing. They've had 20 years of financial mismanagement. It's on its way out the door, so to speak, and all we're doing is prolonging the inevitable because they had $17,000 or $18,000 left in their endowment. There's a bunch of things that need to be done to the property, so why keep it floating along if it doesn't make any sense from a fiscal standpoint?
It's a part of the history of the town. Go ahead, Selectman Bowser.
So I'll just chime in here. I've been an elected official sitting on either the Board of Finance or the Board of Selectmen now in my 10th year. And for 9 of those 10 years, I've asked the Broadbrook Library to make some changes that would actually provide expanded services to the people who aren't necessarily in town during the day, during the week. This is the first year that they have done that. And that's why I, as one of the 5 selectmen, supported that. I don't see $1 in the budget as prolonging their existence very far. I think it is I would like to see money allocated for that. I understand that's really not where we are, but I think that the $1 included is at least a bone to throw them, particularly considering that they have made efforts to improve the services that they provide, to implement additional efficiencies. You know, you can't ask for people to do better and then not recognize that when they do.
It's not going to be there for
I
much
have
longer.
I have a question. Is a huge what if? Is there any chance if the casino goes through, is there any chance of seeing money within 17, 18 if the casino goes through?
We have had no conversations at all about that. I haven't. I don't know if others have.
If there's a line, if there's $1 there and there's extra money, you can transfer there. If there's not $1, if there's not a line item, you can't transfer.
Well, you don't need a line item if there's corporate sponsorship of anything like that. You know, it's not an agency of, well, it is an agency of the town. It's not a town department. So, I mean, they have their own corporation. They have their own tax obligations or not. Certainly their own filing obligations. So if there's corporate support for that, they certainly could do that.
I think it's a bad precedent to put anything in the budget for $1 to hold a spot, whether it's the Warehouse Point Library, not Warehouse Point Library, Broadbrook Library, or the Youth Center, which I am an absolute supporter of. The Youth Center has done more in its short existence than the Broadbrook Library has done as far as maintaining their own capabilities, I think. I certainly, with Paul Anderson, applaud him. You can be added to a budget. His complaint earlier in the last couple of months was that there was no way to apply for a budget spot. I created a form for him, sent it to Mr. Anderson, offered to come as a resident with Mr. Anderson in front of the Board of Selectmen that creates such policies, and try to get a form made up, which someone from the Broadbrook Library could fill out every year, just like someone from the Youth Center, someone from XYZ. I think we put $1 in there, we're opening ourselves up to, why shouldn't Warehouse Point Fire Department have $1 in there? Why shouldn't the Anglers Club have $1 in there? You can't, you know, I feel for Paul Anderson because I see what he's done. I see the difference in the library. As Jay said, they've opened on Saturdays now. I think they're making every attempt to be something. But like the Youth Center, which I've heard constantly being put down, which has a regular attendance, that is running strictly on donations and has, no town money yet, They got more money for other things in town than we've given to our youth center. You know, I feel if we're gonna start putting $1 in for, let's just go down the list of everybody in town, put a line item there and say, this is our dollar line items. And that way they can go and get a transfer instead of having to do processes. That's why I'm against $1 there. It's not against the Broadbrook Library, it's not against the youth center, it's not against the Warehouse Point Fire, it's not against the Anglers Club. It's against the fact that we're supposed to be setting this up so that it's run and there's no, I don't know, that's just, it's silly, in my opinion, and that's why I'll vote against it. I don't think
Any
it's
other
precedent.
discussion?
I should step out the history of the library.
Okay. Really quick, because you're actually.
We went to school down here in Broadbrook, back in the 40s and 50s. That library wasn't in existence. We went to where the Sonic Hall is down there, where the guy did the whole place over. That's where the library was, at the post office. And Mrs. Grizzle took care of that library. For school, we went over there, we took books out every week, put them back. But that library up there, that building up there, that was taken over the town from taxes. The guy didn't pay his taxes. And that's where he got that.
All right, anything else? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Motion fails.
So Kathy, the question.
Yep.
Okay, one.
What happened? You got Bill? Okay.
I get 75
When I was looking at the budget the other night, under insurance and pension, I was hoping to find something, it's nothing I knew, but Gail did report that we do have a savings in workers' compensation.
Yep.
That I was unaware of when I did this originally, so that was a reduction from $226,440 of $24,000 to bring it to $196,640, and I move that that change be made.
Second.
Okay.
It's insurance and what, Bill?
It's under workers' compensation.
Okay, any discussion? I had it as going down 17,574.
Well, that'll be the total that's not down.
Okay,
I'm going with the 196640
yeah,
numbers.
so we'll go with the 19664.
We originally had up 3%, but that's going to be lower than that.
All right. So, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Bill, can you just give me the number again?
Okay.
196 is the new budget.
My next change I made was under information technology, under professional services, I reduced it by $2,000. I make that as a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? So it brings it to 30?
Yep.
Whoa, no.
Hold on.
Can't,
Okay.
because we moved stuff into that line.
Okay.
That's why it went up. We actually, the cable bill goes in that line now for all our internet access.
Okay.
And the only other thing in that line is our cost for our Outlook.
I'll rescind my
Or
motion.
no, that's cost for our consultant.
I'll rescind my motion. That's fine.
Okay, you rescinded your motion. Kathy rescinded her second. All right.
My last change I had under the town side is under contingency, I just reduced that from $50,000 to $40,000.
I don't think that's a good.
Gail's having a heart attack, Bill. Why'd you do that?
All right, you know what, did you make a motion?
I didn't make a motion, it's fine.
Okay,
I-
so
I
go
just,
ahead,
like I
Gail,
said,
go ahead and talk
these
to
are changes I made before I realized some of the savings you came up with on the side that I didn't know about.
Go ahead, then we'll go to
It's
Bob.
fine.
Think that you need to remember that you've got 2 union contracts that are expiring June 30th this year.
Okay, that's fine.
And we cannot put in any salary increases.
Okay.
So-
Bob?
And I just want to say that you and I think it's a good idea, have been taking money from here and there, and sometimes people will come up and say, well, if things go all right, then I can get by with less repairs on this, or I think you need a contingency fund, and I think that in a sense, allows you in the next, well, if we have to cut more, then you can always say, well, if you do need the money that we've taken away from various places, then we can come back to contingency. So I think that it might be hurting us to really reduce the contingency. We might need that.
So that's it.
All right, so, yeah, I'm good with not making that change. Like I said, I
So
didn't
that's the
realize,
last thing, isn't it?
that is, and then my last one was to the Board of Ed.
But before we do anything like that, I'd first like to go over some revenue changes and some other
The debt
debt
service.
service that has been readjusted. So I'm gonna, go ahead, you can give your good news.
Well,
Some good, some bad.
we were discussing with debt service, when the budget process started on middle school roof, the project cost was $2,750,000. We didn't know what the state reimbursement was at that point, and it's come back at 62%. So, given that, going over the numbers with Joe and the financial planner, we should be able, we're going for bond anticipation notes for 9 months, so we should have the reimbursement back, so we only need to bond or at least pay $1.5 million instead of $2,750,000. So.
Have you already
based on-
put those numbers in this budget?
She has it right there on the last line.
I've got it right now, and that's why it's yellow, because you haven't approved it. But, I do have an email that I gave to Geraldine also. The thing we have to look forward to is to make sure that our debt service is covered. If we go up 2% every year, that we'll be able to afford all of the payments, and that does allow for that. You'll see a column. There's debt service cap,
Yep.
and all the way to the right. It does allow the town to stay within that based on the 2% budget increase.
So I make a motion that, did you?
I have nothing.
I'll make this easy. I make a motion to reduce debt service principal to $1,937.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, so the next would, yep, the next would be, am I the only one with this copy, or did you get everybody copies?
No, I need everybody.
Okay, so you guys, if you pull up your general fund summary, and Kathy will explain the yellow highlighted items quickly.
Which thing are we pulling up now? Oh, I had it out. I'm ahead of you.
Yeah, I looked at you and called. I'm like looking at you, and I'm like, no, Kathy. Yeah. It's 9:30.
Back earlier, we did get new numbers from the governor's office that we felt that it was prudent to put in. That special education grant is there, and so we thought that it was prudent to put it in exactly the way it's in the budget. There was some decreases to adult education. TAR was put back in, I think we had it out or lower before, but in the governor's new budget, it took away all PQOT funding, all pilot funding, all municipal revenue share, sales tax. So, we.
I think, if I could say, I think the Pequot's back in there. I got an email today saying it was, not from CCM, but that's 45,000, I think. That might be revenue we could put back in.
You got an email today?
Yeah.
The other email that I forwarded to you was that they're thinking that that mill rate will stay at 37, the mill rate cap on motor vehicles, but that's not set in stone. So when this budget goes over 32 mills, I'm not sure we can count on
motor vehicles being taxed at a higher rate than 32 if that hasn't been.
But we don't plan on that happening this time, right? Even if it's two? But we're not done yet, so.
Yeah, we're not doing yet, but I think we're right now at 30.82 mill rate.
Yeah. So if Bob got his email, I think we should put the P-Quad back in. All right, so any questions of Gail on this?
So we're assuming everything that we know, or that we think from the government, except the pensions?
With the exception of the pensions, that's correct.
So I think actually just approve revenues as one motion, approve the revenues as changed.
All right, so we'll do that. All right. I'll move we approve the,
Okay, I read it backwards.
I'll move we approve the revenues as amended, updated as of tonight on, to, what's that number down the bottom there? 400, no, sorry, 400.
The state revenue of
$701.33.
Second.
$33.
$33, yeah, there you go.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
I don't believe those numbers are gonna stay constant, but for tonight,
Right.
sure. But when it doesn't, we're gonna be back at square one.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes, no opposition.
I do feel more comfortable
Mhm.
raising the amount that we're not going to get from the state. I think we were a little bit.
Okay.
Are we, Bill, are we done with yours? What else did you want to look at?
My last one was for the Board of Education, that was it.
And were you gonna make any changes in the Board of Ed?
Yes, I was.
What's the numbers we got right now?
We are at a 1.866 total general fund increase.
And what if we took out the 475 we've got in there?
That's not gonna change.
That motion failed.
We'll change it.
It'll change the mill rate, it
It
won't
doesn't
change
change,
the
it
spending.
changed the mill rate, but not the expenditures.
So we're creating an artificial mill rate essentially by moving that money. I'm just asking.
A lot of towns do that, a lot of towns do that every single year. As part of policy, as part of what they do, it's not something,
Part of getting elected in the next election.
We don't have it next year.
so we're at 1.86.
Well, you still, where was the mill rate? Yeah, where is the mill rate?
There's still a tax increase even around 1.8,
Oh, yeah.
32.77.
which is bigger than it was at the last referendum.
Is that higher?
It's higher than it was
Yes,
the last one,
because
because
we
of less
took
revenues.
less state.
Right, we're less state aid.
Which we're gonna be out again.
Your increase is less, but your mill rate is higher because you got less state aid.
So what do you want to do to the
Catch
Board of Ed?
22.
My cut to the Board of Ed was to bring them to 1%, it was $120,000.
They're not gonna vote for the budget if we do that.
Then they get more money if they say
Like
no.
I said, the tax increase in this budget with less revenues is more than it was in the last referendum, even though the spending is less.
God
Because you have less revenue.
That was
No,
my,
I
I didn't
just-
make a motion for it, but that's what I was doing. Again, I didn't know about some of the dollars when it came in on debt service, but still, I mean, there still is a larger tax increase with the new information we have tonight than there was.
I think she leave Board of Ed alone at the 1.5.
I think we should definitely leave them alone.
Just where it's at.
Because it's not, we've taken so much from what they've already taken.
Well, and we're not.
Selectman
really-
Baza?
So just, because my side of the house is the town side, I would point out that every single dollar that has been cut tonight has been cut from the town side, so there is no equity here, there is no partnership across the budget if you guys do nothing. That is,
No,
that
we've
is
cut
really
each
unfair
one.
to the people who have to manage the town side of the budget.
So
They went from 4.77 to
that was $1 million increase.
1.55.
They weren't
That was a
$1 million.
request. So they're getting more money, but they're getting more money.
Jason, I agree with you, but we're trying to pass a budget that doesn't go to 2%. We're trying to keep things functional, which we won't be. You kind of like, what the hell?
So I will move that we reduce the Board of Education budget by $55,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Oh, she beat you, Kathy beat you. Any discussion?
And if my calculation's correct, that would be about equivalent to what we took out of the town tonight.
Oh, that's right, because some of your motions failed.
Some of my motions failed, so that would be about equivalent to what we pulled from the town budget tonight.
And if it fails, it goes
Town
up to.
budgets. Just saying. Okay, so there was a first, there was a second for the $55,000. Is there any discussion?
I think it should be more.
Okay. Can you do the 55 and show us? Oh, you did. Look at you, you're so good, thank you.
I wish there was
What did
someone
you do
here
the
to
mill rate?
advocate for the Board of Education.
They did, Sarah's here. Well, she's not board of ed, but she advocated for it.
Just a.
Are we on discussion at this point?
Yes, we are. That's why I'm just asking her to.
Why don't we just go home then? We don't really need to put out another budget, because if we lower the Board of Ed, it ain't gonna make it through. This budget isn't gonna make it through anyways. It's horrible. This is terrible what we're doing. I wish the people had passed it yesterday. But I can't change history, you're right, so. But I hate for the Board of Ed to be any more upset. They've got mandates, et cetera, so.
Nit.
I can't answer the question.
You can certainly ask a question if it's involving your department.
No, it has nothing to do with my department, and I'm not saying give me money back or, you know, I just want to, first off, thank the board for not touching CIP. But if in fact this fails, and maybe just for my knowledge, because I don't know, because I hear too many stories, it diverts to a 2%. So in fact, everybody gets 2%?
No.
Okay.
Actually, Cindy asked for the 2% legal opinion to be brought, which we have, which is much too lengthy to go over. It really pretty much cuts down to, and let me find out where mine is. Can somebody summarize it really easy? Because
Well, that it does go 2% to each line, but we can't leave a situation that is absurd or doesn't make sense, giving
Gotta
money
make
to
payroll.
a place. You can't give money to a place that doesn't require it or need it. But because we can transfer money, we can then make transfers to adjust that 2%. What I don't understand about that is because, are we able to take money, like if we wanted to make a transfer from the Board of Ed today, could we unilaterally say we need $10,000 from the Board of Ed's money
No.
today? So that based on that legal opinion, my understanding is that the Board of Ed would then get 2%. And because we can't make that transfer, we can't make that transfer.
As far as I understood it, whatever the third referendum is, it was 2% across the board. And
We have to
set
read the
we
last
set the
two.
mill rate.
You could read the last two paragraphs of the memo, and that it clarifies that you could make those changes, that you have to make those changes because you can't pass a law that has absurd results, and the absurd results would be funding lines that don't need it.
But the only thing it said there that I read was that the 2% is, when it fails the third time, we can make no more changes at that point in time after the third failure.
Did you read
I read the whole thing
the
twice.
whole thing?
Yes.
Did you read the last two paragraphs?
I have 2013.
Yeah, 2013.
Yeah.
So you guys are currently at 1.77, what is the?
1.77.
What's the mill rate?
It's 32.7.
Do we have a motion on the floor?
What's the, so here's my point, is you have a budget that's relatively close to in place under the third referendum. In the event that that isn't successful, you have an obligation under the charter to meet the next thing and set the mill rate. We have plenty of time thereafter to get clarification on the legal opinion, to actually answer some of the questions you guys are having, instead of having a whole bunch of non-lawyers postulate.
Exactly.
So it seems like an academic question right now that doesn't need to be answered right
But,
now?
but the whole point is here is, the people from the school are voting no because they think they're getting 2%. If that's not the fact,
Well, no, they will get 2%.
for sure, but we don't know that.
Well, right now, none of that, this is a 2013 legal opinion. It's 2017, laws have changed, things have changed. Our charter hasn't changed, but laws have changed. Actually, we had a legal opinion back in 2010 when this changed in 2013 because of some law, I don't remember which one. So my guess would be is we would be going to Bob and asking him for another legal opinion on the 2%.
Well, I think you can certainly come to me and get another opinion, but I think I kind of, in a sense, agree with what Jason said, that we have time to work on this, and I think the question should be more specific. I think the answer you're going to get is that the Board of Education will get 2%, the town will get 2%. The town and the Board of Finance in the town can, over time, and probably by the transfer method, move the money around so where it makes the most sense. But I think the 2%, it's quite clear what the 2% is based on the July 1st budget approved last year. And I think it's going to go it's going to go 2% to the Board of Ed, 2% to the town.
Yeah.
But you have to ask specific questions.
Right, exactly, and there has to be specific questions answered because, like I said, 2010 was different than 2013, and I think if we go out for a legal opinion in 2017, it may be different.
Well, let's be honest,
So-
whatever we get isn't gonna work. At 2%, even the Board of Ed, that's been their big argument, is they need 4. The town needs, what, 2.9 for payroll? So we're gonna have to move stuff out of other town stuff to make payroll. It's just gonna get
How
interesting.
about we just get
Sorry.
this far?
All right, I
So we have a
apologize.
motion, that's okay, do we have a motion? Because we just messed that up, I just totally forgot we had a motion. Okay, so he has a motion on the floor, who seconded, Peg? We do have a second, right? Sorry. Kathy, okay. Any more discussion?
What was the motion again? I'm sorry, because there was so much discussion.
55,000 from the Board of Ed, it'll bring it down to 1.71%. We good? No more discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed?
He was in favor. Motion, oh, sorry, motion fails, yeah.
Motion
Okay.
fails?
Yep. All right, you done with your?
I'm done.
You done? All right. On to Cindy. You got anything, or are you good?
We just made all those cuts and the mill rate went up.
It's gonna go up. State's gonna cut more.
Because you lost revenue.
I have nothing
Actually.
more.
Jim, sorry.
I want to discuss the 475 stuff. I know you've been putting me off through the whole meeting.
No, your motion failed. We're
I
not
know,
cutting you
but,
off. Your
well,
motion
okay.
failed.
I make a motion that we cut that by $200,000.
Second.
Okay, motion on the floor, first and second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
Opposed.
What'd you do? Opposed? Motion fails. Anything else?
Do you have to, you have to set a mill rate?
No, we have to
We're not
approve
done,
the
we haven't
budget.
even gone, Steve
haven't
hasn't
even
had
approved
his
this
say, we're not
budget.
even done. Jim, do you have anything else?
No, that was my big thing.
Okay. Steve?
We're on comments.
Hmm?
We're on
No,
comments.
if you want to change it.
Change anything, do anything more, add anything? Delete
No,
anything?
We're gonna take a bloodbath come after June 7th. Nope, I got nothing to add.
It's June 14th.
The session ends June 7th, I thought.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the referendum.
No, June 7th.
Nothing? Okay. Kathy? Okay. So, the only thing I do have to say is I do and not that I don't go one department over another department, one town side, Board of Ed side, but I will agree wholeheartedly with what Jason said. What was done tonight was completely on the town side and honestly completely unfair in my opinion. And not that I want to take from the Board of Ed, but it was not right. So, it's my opinion, and I don't want to take from the Board of Ed, but if you're going to take one, and I've been sitting here for a long time doing this, and we always tried to be fair and equitable, and this will be the first time that I've seen us be totally one-sided. So, just saying. So you guys have to make a motion for your mill rate
Can
and
I
et cetera.
just,
Yeah, absolutely. Keep going.
what's the increase for the town side?
2.32%,
What's the increase for the Board of Education side?
1.55.
So I agree it's not fair.
Percentages are based on total dollars.
Right, I agree it's not fair and equitable that the town has 2.6% increase in the Board of Ed only has 1.
What's the dollar
That's my
amounts?
opinion.
You gotta break them up too. You gotta break up police, town, Board of Ed.
They're equal.
No, you gotta break up police, town, Board of Ed, because Bob, the town side includes the police, but it's only fair to break them out in dollar amounts. So really the police are one chunk and then your town is one chunk, even though Bob on his town side, it's the police and the town together. But it's really not. It's the Board of Ed, it's the police, and it's the town, so.
Well, here's a breakdown showing the town side is going up 1%, your public safety going up 5.54%.
Why would I separate, I gotta disagree.
So you see the
with you, Charlie.
percentages.
I know, it
So you
doesn't
see
make
the
sense.
But
percentages.
I'm looking at totals now. I'm all done looking at line items. Can we go back
That's
to the
not line
totals?
items, that's.
These are departments, so. you-
Yeah, I mean total budget, town budget, education budget. I'd like to see what those numbers are.
Okay,
Yeah,
town
sure.
government, 1533.
You're the only one that I can turn to.
And their increase was how much?
345 to 38.
Okay, and the Board of Ed side?
342, 583.
So essentially, the town is getting a higher dollar for dollar increase already.
And last year was the other way around.
Well, that's all I'm saying.
It's because the town side is only 40% of the budget.
Jason, I understand what you're saying. We're talking, well, I don't need to argue with you. Never mind.
But if salaries, what's the, I don't have anyone to ask here, what's the average salary increase for a teacher next year?
We don't
Over
know
2%, but if it's over 2%, then you're definitely cutting.
Saving that money, they have to figure it out.
It's not right to say that it's not.
But that's the way it works. States.
Unfair because.
It was unfair for the Board of Ed to run around and saying they weren't getting an increase that they were getting. That's the bottom line. It was unfair when the budget was put out and everybody had a piece of the action, and those that didn't get a piece of the action created such a furor.
Can we move on here to numbers and set the
Yeah,
number rate,
absolutely.
please?
Well, what do you guys gotta make a motion?
Make a motion to set the general fund at $38,452,003.
No, the Board of Finance.
704.
Oh, sorry, you're the wrong one. Make a motion to set the general fund for fiscal year 2017-2018 to $37,704,912, which is a 1.8% increase with a mill rate of 32.77.
Did you get 1.86?
Jumping almost 2 minutes.
It's 1.8, wasn't it 1.86? Is it my eyes or, I'm pretty sure it's 1.86, 1.86. So it's 1.86. That was Steve made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, aye.
Aye.
Wow.
3 ayes. Opposed?
Opposed.
Someday?
gonna go with the ayes, I'm sorry I'm late.
Motion clearly passes. Can I motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
We're gonna be back here again. Set the mill rate. Look at the first selectman and say, what should this be?
Yeah, don't ask me a question.
You said it was about 55,000 for outside, is that what you proposed, or is that what was approved?
Signs going up, you take $1, you want.